guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today I'm doing a review of the original tarot deck of 78 cards. This was a deck that was sent to me by a publisher, and they said that, they wanted me to take a look at how their deck compares to maybe some other Rider-Waite-Smith decks in terms of quality, user-friendly, things like that, and how well it might go with beginners. And I know there's a plethora of other styles, card systems and other divination type systems out there. And the Rider-Waite-Smith is just one of those systems. But as far as it being beginner friendly for this particular type of system, I want to take a look at that. So let's first of all just open it up. So you have your regular little box here. And it's got a little bit on the back. Okay, and you can see it got a little smushed when it was coming from Amazon because you can get this off of Amazon. It's like $13.95 on Amazon, which, if you're a beginner and you've never used any sort of card system, before, and you're like, I don't really want to spend a whole lot of cash, I would probably go with something that was like $13. I probably wouldn't want to be dropping tons of change on something I haven't even learned anything about yet. Okay, so let's take these out. Okay, so in terms of Little White Book, it actually is a really nice book. So we have The Key to the Tarot, based on the Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite. And this is compiled by Brian Wegner. So let me see if I get in here. It actually has pretty good size font. I know that a lot of people complain it's hard to read sometimes, the Little White books, because of the font size. And check this out, it's full color. So I was like, what? It's like a $13 deck and it's full color on the inside. And I like that it's just really simple when it talks about each of the cards. So you're not like memorizing like all of these terms and all of, this and that. And for me, I'm an intuitive reader, but, I do like to look through the books that come with decks and, kind of get an idea of, what the artist or the creator was going for. And also kind of see their perspective. But if I were just starting off, I would just want something as simple as possible. And then later on, if I want to like buy a bigger book and learn more about the tarot, I could do that. But this would be really good, just like getting people started, I think. And just, my personal opinion. And okay, I have 3 other decks that are Smith-Waite and Rider-Waite Smith and Smith-Waite decks. Yes, there we go. And I want to be able to compare them. So right away, first off, when I was talking about the Pictorial Key to the Tarot, the Key to the Tarot, that reminded me of a book that my uncle gave me. And this is the Key to the Tarot book. And this is by De Laurence, L.W. De Laurence, I believe. And this is from 1918. And there's, of course, a lot of controversy around this because many believe that he just pretty much plagiarized the Key to the Tarot. So this is the illustrated Key to the Tarot, which basically is like the pictorial key. And obviously there's a lot more written here. So, if somebody wanted to get a bigger book, yes, they could. But like I said, this would be like really good, just kind of helping people out and, getting started. I have a really old version of the Smith-Waite. This is from 1961. It's a 3rd edition Smith-Waite deck. This belonged to my uncle and he so graciously gifted it to me. So I'm really happy to have it. This is the one with the pink ankh on the back. So I am going to be comparing it with some of the colors in here. I know this is like 1961, but I'm going to compare it with this. I'm also going to compare it with the giant Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I have, just in terms of like quality and color. Obviously, if you're going to get this now, it would cost more than $13, let me tell you. And then this I got in a trade but I've seen for $20 on up. And then I also have Pam's Vintage Tarot, which, yes, is more than $13. But yeah, I just, want to look at quality. And, again, if I was starting this path all over again, would this be something that interests me? Because you want something that is within your budget. You're not spending a whole lot of money on it, just to kind of see if you like it or not. You want something that has information, but not too much information. And of course is pleasant to the eye, because if you don't like looking at the tools that you're using, then, you're not going to use them. So for me, if I was just getting something and I'm starting off and like the quality of the cards is like super cheap, I don't know. I think I would find that off-putting. like, oh, I don't know. Because it's like, it just, like, visually and tangibly, like, if I don't jive with it, I'm not going to want to learn it. So anyway, let's actually move on to looking at the cards. So before I zoom in, I just want to show you guys that this has linen cardstock to it. And I was kind of bummed out that, let's see, it's these 4 cards. When the box showed up from Amazon, you can see it was a little munched. It munched these 4 cards in the corners. I was like, no. But that's not the fault of the people that made the deck. I just kind of want to show that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. All right, so this of course is your traditional size tarot deck, and let's see how it stacks up. Okay, it's like exactly the same size, so you're getting your standard size tarot. Okay, your card stock, like I said, it's linen finish. It does have a lot of give to it, but it's not flimsy at all. It's actually a pretty thick card stock, so it's like in between, not too thick but also not floppy, so that's good. Oh, and then the backs, by the way, ignore the crumpled edge. It does kind of have that tea stain color to it, which is pretty cool. All right, so after I zoom in, these are all still in order, by the way. When I get to the Fool card, which is already here up front, and I get to the Strength card and the World card, I've already set those 3 cards aside from the 3 other decks, just so you can compare, color and all of that. Just to kind of see if it's appealing to you. All right, so let's zoom in. I have laid out all the Fool cards, including Pam's Vintage Tarot here. Okay, so first of all, the brand new deck that I have, the original tarot deck of 78 cards, Rider-Waite-Smith, is this card right here. This is the 1961 3rd edition version, and this one is the giant Rider-Waite tarot deck here. And then, of course, like I said, Pam's Vintage Tarot here. So just in terms of colors, these being the 2 newer decks here, as it compares to the one that I was sent, I just think that, they went over the lines a lot better. So, everything is a little bit more solidified. It's more solidified of a picture. It doesn't seem, like kind of just sort of sketched in like it does here. And it's not oversaturated like we have the 1961 version here. So I'd say it more closely looks like Pam's Vintage version, except, of course this has that staining to it to make it look more vintagey. But yeah, like I said, if I'm going to be using something, I want it to be visually appealing. And for me, the colors, the connection of the lines and everything, just kind of making the image look really smooth is appealing to me. And so yes, I would, if I was starting off, I would want to start with a deck like this. It's like, hey, it's good on my wallet, looks good on the eyes, it's good to the touch because it's got that linen finish. So yeah, let's take a look at some of the other cards. All right, so here we go. Like I said, it's not like overly saturated. I think it has really good coloring. I think they went over the lines really well. I know there are some people that, you know, collect all different versions of like the Smith weights and the Rider-Waite Smiths. Okay, I pulled aside the strength cards. Let's take a look at the strength card. The reason I pulled the Fool card, the strength card, and the World card is because those are the three cards that I look at if I'm going to be getting a deck. I have to like, I have to love them. And the strength card is my birth card, so you know. So here we go with the strength card. Again, you know, I think it just has like the right amount of coloring to it. Not overly saturated like our actual vintage version, our 1961 version. This one's just kind of a lot more like kind of scribbled in with color pencil almost. Yeah, and this one just looks a lot better. And like I said, it actually most closely resembles that Pam's vintage version. Right, let's continue on. I love that everything is colored in with the death card. In some versions of like our RWS clones, not everything is totally colored in, so I like that one is. I agree, like this is actually a really good cardstock and like really good coloring for something that is very inexpensive. I don't even know what I was expecting, you know, when I got contacted and they're like, oh, we'd love to send you one of our decks. You know, we believe that it's, you know, a good price, that it's, you know, got really good cardstock, and it would be geared towards beginners. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I don't mind taking a look at another deck. And so, yeah, I don't know what my expectations were, but I am pleasantly surprised how nice it is. Kind of wish those first few cards weren't munched in the transport, but what are you gonna do? And actually, it doesn't really bother me all that much, really. I'm just being nitpicky. And I know there are some versions of, you know, this deck where it just seems like the coloring was an afterthought and it was just like something that they wanted to quickly print and get out so they can, you know, make a quick buck. And actually, I don't think that was the case in this deck. And I appreciate when there's like a little more thought given to certain decks, even if it is mass produced. I just, you know, like a little extra love when it comes to my divinatory tools, you know? Oh, you know what? I think we passed the world card a while ago. I got so into talking, I forgot to show off the world card. So here we are with the card that was sent to me. Here we have the 1961, really oversaturated version, even kind of like a double printing, so it kind of looks kind of weird. And then we have the U.S. Games giant Rider-Waite version. You know, so a little soft on the color. Yeah, but I think this one looks really nice. And again, closely matching that Pam's Vintage Tarot. Okay, continuing on. I got Loki in the background, just kind of watching what I'm doing over here. Loki actually likes sleeping on tarot cards, hanging out with tarot cards. Sometimes we'll pick cards. Wally, not so much. Wally's more into crystals. Well, both of them love crystals. Our old cat, though, Presley, now he was the go-to kitten for pulling some cards. Like, he would do tarot all day long with me. It was actually pretty awesome. this coloring kind of reminds me of, and just kind of the filled in-ness of it reminds me of kind of like comics. You know, like my boyfriend's older brother, like he has tons of like comic books and stuff like that, and it just kind of seems like that kind of style to me. For some people, the sword suit is their least favorite suit. Me, I kind of dig it. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. So before I go on with the deck, you know what I forgot to mention too? On the bottom here where it says who it's manufactured by, and the person that contacted me, they were the person in charge of Siren Imports, you know, being by Debris. So Shenzhen Best Playing Cards Company is actually the company that I printed my Wally's World Oracle with. So that's an Oracle deck that I had created that was community funded and community created. So I was like, wait a minute, I know those people. So anyway, I just thought I would mention that. I thought that was like really cool. Okay, so let's put that off to the side. Hey, let's do a reading with this, because that's what I always do in my deck reviews. And actually, you know, let's split this up, because this is the first time I'm going to be reading with it. Okay, let's give it a good shuffle. I'm going to pull 3 cards. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull a card, and then I want to read from the guidebook that I said was very beginner friendly. So let's see what the guidebook has to say about the card that I choose or pull. And maybe this will be a message for somebody out there, and that would be totally cool too. All right, we have our message, and here we have the 8 of Swords. Okie dokie. Let's see what our 8 of Swords has got for us. Okay. So we're going to go into the sword suit. Okay, we have our 8 of Swords. Let's bring it up here. The 8 symbolizes feeling trapped and restricted, perhaps by one's own convictions. Self-imposed barriers can be shed with an open mind. And so, you know, if you are new to the tarot, you'd be like, okay, feeling trapped and restricted. I definitely see that in this card. You know, the person who is here is blindfolded, they're bound, they're surrounded by swords. You know, and it talks about having an open mind. You know, maybe being blindfolded means something about not having your mind open, not being able to see other points of view or acknowledge them. So yeah, it's just a short little piece, and ta-da, you know, I have my message, you know. So if you are a beginner, I would probably suggest maybe doing daily draws first before going on into big old spreads, you know. But of course, that's just my opinion and just, you know, some advice. But okay, so that's it. That is my review of the original tarot deck of 78 cards created by Debris and the Siren Imports LLC. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I thought it would also be fun too, since I have, you know, 3 other versions of the Waite-Smith and Rider-Waite-Smith, and you know, we could compare it to a newer deck that is out there in terms of quality and color, because I know that there are some decks out there that are definitely not of quality, and to me, like, just visually it's just looks cheap, you know, and so therefore, like, I don't want to use it. So like, even if I am getting a deal on something, it's not a deal if I never use the deck. So I say that this deck is a-okay. I dig it. You know, I'm actually going to use it, you know, because I like it. So yay. So thank you to the people that sent me this deck. And also, yeah, I thank you guys for watching. So, you know, if you are looking for a starter deck, hey, I'm going to point you in this direction. It's low cost, it's actually really good quality, and I think that the little white book, quote unquote, the LWB that comes with it is simple enough that it could help you out. All right, so that's it for me, spiritual homies. If you dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding, ding, ding notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittensweightsandtarot.com, where I also have my healing salves, my beauty salves, my sprays, and my witch kits, which I don't have very many of left because they're quite popular. And I also have my bracelets that I make. And also on my website, you can sign up for my newsletter, which is absolutely free. I only hit your inbox once a month, and that is all. And in my newsletter, I have my stones I'm using for the month, books that I'm reading, channels that I'm watching, music I'm listening to. I always include a DIY spell or just something fun and crafty to make. Yeah, and hey, if you want to throw a little love my way, think about joining the KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittensweightsandtarot. And I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.